Welcome to the Esoerotic Dark Feminine Magic Podcast. My name is Crimson, creatrix of Esoeroticism, and I help mystically minded folks awaken their dark feminine magic. Welcome to the Portal of Enchantment. Welcome, Tara Valkyrie. You know what time it is. It's time for our monthly astro update through the lens of the dark feminine. Tara, what's the energy for the month ahead?
Okay, so
And
we're
we're in August 2025
yes,
for those
August.
who are listening in the
Yes.
future.
If you're just tuning in, or if you're aliens eavesdropping, according to our Earth schedule, it is August 2025. So we are, in some ways, we're calming down a little from June and July because we know June and July was a lot. A lot was thrown at us, and this month is about really stepping into our integrity. And then also, to put it bluntly, we're being asked to grow the fuck up and own who we are.
It's about damn time.
I mean, and we've been getting these little lessons, and the viewers like, y'all, seriously, come on.
Right. If you've already been growing up already, you're a little ahead of the game, so good for you. It's not going to be a treacherous month for you.
Exactly. It's like right now we're in the middle of a Mercury retrograde, and there's a lot of negative hype
Yeah.
about Mercury. If you've been with the multiverse, if you've been listening to me, you know that this is a gift.
Yeah.
And it's a gift to really tap into that alignment energy, that cosmic, earthy alignment energy. We're conditioned to always be going, and this is a period of rest and review. And within that, it's like reviewing how we are showing up and what we're doing with our power.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's super cool. It's super cool. We also have just kind of, I'm looking at my notes. One big thing going on. Obviously, we've got this month, we've got a full moon in Aquarius on the 9th. We've got the new moon in Virgo on the 23rd. But we also have Mars entering Libra on the 6th. And
Oh,
what I love about that is Mars is the action planet. It's very much the planet of our body. It's when we want something and we're like, you know what, that's mine. I'm gonna go get it. What I love about Mars and Libra is, in my opinion, it is a fuller embodiment of the Mars energy. If you get on Google and you're like, Mars and Libra, I'm gonna Google that. Oftentimes, traditional astrologers, old school astrology is like, ooh, Mars in Libra, it's in fall, it's not as powerful. And then, like, the really old school shitty astrology is like, it's feminine, so it's not as powerful. We know that's bullshit. When we're harnessing, working with Mars and Libra, it's basically going after what you want and not being a dick about it.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And recognizing the nuance, that's another theme for August, is nuance. And kind of the holistic process of when we are moving toward goals, recognizing that we need rest, we need review, we need joy, we need play. That needs to be as much of a ritual as our money spells, as our more traditional kind of manifesting or release spells, is recognizing that if we're not in our bodies and we're not finding pleasant connection there, we're not going to be able to align with the energy. So yeah,
I
yeah.
like rethinking because I do like to know when planets are exalted in certain signs and when they are more in detriment. But it is really nice to rethink about that as like when is it in a sign that's very aligned with its energy versus
Mhm.
when is it in a sign that's going to make you find nuance within that energy.
Yes. Ooh,
And
I love that.
detriment can do that,
Yes.
and it's actually going to have you understand it at a deeper level.
Yes.
So yeah.
I love that. Make you understand nuance. That's such a good way of putting it. Because that's really what it's about, is And we are in, last month I talked about Uranus moving into Gemini, and we are on, I keep saying we're on the cusp. We're in it now. It's happening. We are in this era that's not going away of we are learning new things at such an insane rate. And on one
Hmm.
hand, it's really awesome. On the other hand, as I talked about, there's going to be some sketchy stuff going on. And learning how to, or remembering how to adapt to energy. And remember, there's a power in that. There's a power in being able to flex and to bend and to rework the way we set something up or the way we have these expectations.
Hmm.
Is really, really powerful. And y'all have heard me say if you take Moon Club, there are no bad placements. And that's the thing. It's like there's some that are going to be very easy to work with. Others are going to be challenging, but then they bring gifts.
And it's also something to think about. I always think that people that understand things at the deepest level and therefore are the best teachers are the ones who have found challenge with something.
Hmm.
It's kind of like the thing you're known for is the thing that you will struggle with. And you can
Yes.
think about that as well. So, like, if you are so naturally Mars aligned, that it's going to be really hard for you to really connect with other people and like here is how you nurture Mars energy because it's just your natural inclination, whereas someone in Libra who really understands Mars, who has to, it's not a natural default, that
Hmm.
energy, once they learn to work with it, they find the nuance, they are going to be the Mars expert because they
Yes.
understand it at so many different levels. Very dark feminine, love the
Hmm.
depth of it all. Ah.
Yes, yes. And that's the thing is being able to work with these different layers of energy and seeing nuance.
Hmm.
That is something I've been seeing a lot of articles about, with all this technology that's progressing, all of the AI advancements, nuance and emotional intelligence is so important. It's so important. That is the thing that Mars and Libra is known for. I mean, they can read rooms, they can really detect a lot of the underlying currents. That's not just a water sign thing. They can really detect that, and we all have that ability. Some of us, it comes more naturally than others, but this time period is where we really get kind of a nice little short course in how do we work with this energy? What are we missing when we typically interact? And then how can we be more aware of the more subtle energies?
Ah, I
Yeah.
love that, which I think when working with Mars, so, you said Mars is very action oriented,
Hmm.
but when it's very, it's a masculine energy.
Yeah.
Obviously, I feel like I don't need to say this every time, but we all
Hmm.
have masculine and feminine energy. We
Yes.
like to just differentiate between the two, but it's very active, it's very projective.
Hmm.
When unchecked, it can start
Hmm.
wars.
Yes.
It can be very aggressive. It's
Hmm.
important to understand the nuance of it.
It is because it's kind of like I often think of Mars when I think of ego
Hmm.
because we do need ego. It's not that you should never have ego because ego advocates. Our ego when it's healthy, it advocates for us when it's needed, and then it steps back when again the nuance. And Mars is that way too. We need to know when we need to stand up for ourselves or when we need to say, "Hey, I'm going to take action on that." Um, and then when do I need to kind of pause here and look around. And Mars and Libra, melding with the other outer planets. We had Uranus move into Gemini. Libra and Gemini are air energies. That's about connection on all the levels. We have Neptune, Saturn in Aries. Aries is about advocating for self. Now, the higher embodiment of that is we're advocating for self and we're advocating for those who may not have a voice.
Because
Um,
it's leadership, and leadership is not a self-serving
right,
quality at its highest expression.
right, right. And so we're kind of, as a collective, as a species, we're being asked repeatedly by the universe and more often of, hey, y'all are capable of stepping into this higher energy and we need you to do it like right now.
Not like yesterday, but since
Not
that didn't
yesterday, but
happen,
right
how about
now.
now?
Yesterday would have been perfect, but
Yeah.
today is great.
Yeah. And we know that Libra's very diplomatic. It's
Yeah.
very relationship oriented. And so with
Hmm.
Mars in it, it's how do we take action in a way that is considering the other. And so how timely is that in the world we're living in?
Yeah, it's so on point because we also have, Pluto has moved into Aquarius and is hanging out there. And so we have these
Hmm.
big hits of this air energy. And that really is, and I've said it before about Aquarius, but it really applies to Libra as well, to Gemini. There is no other, there is just us.
Hmm.
And at the end of the day, whatever is going on the other side of the planet, that's mirroring what we are doing, and vice versa. And really, ultimately, I know Elon Musk is like Mars. The reality is, this is home. This is like we're
Yeah.
not getting out of here.
Yeah, how about we put our resources into cultivating
Right.
our home instead of trying to dominate other fiery planets. But
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's why we always say on this podcast, and we always say, in the multiverse and with the work when we talk about astrology, why are we doing this? As is above, so is below. As is within, so is without. We
Mhm.
always have to remember that the cosmos, why we talk about the cosmos, is as is above, so is below, as we're seeing reflected on our earthly plane.
Yeah.
As is within, as we are doing our own internal work, so is without, so we see it reflected in the external world.
Mhm.
That is that magical axiom that supports that statement. So thank
Yeah.
you for saying that.
Yeah, and it also aligns with, right now we're in Leo season.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a
Tell us
little
what Leo season is. What's Leo
Leo
season?
season. Okay, well, it's a big summer party.
Hey.
So Leo season runs, approximately July 20th, just 22nd to August 20th, 22nd, depending on the little wobble of the earth. And Leo's ruled by the sun. So this is a time that the biggest takeaway for Leo season is one, not being afraid to step into your own spotlight and remembering, I mean, it's the sun. There is more than enough light, warmth for everybody. So it's not only celebrating you, but then lifting up everyone else. And the highest embodiment of Leo, and I mean, I know we both know amazing Leo people, the highest embodiment is they are not afraid to step into their talents, what makes them unique, their gifts, and they are happy to shine the light on other people.
Right. It's not from a place of fear or lack.
Right.
And what I love, and actually for our multiverse babes, our theme for August is the sun. So we're really going to be playing with this energy over the month ahead. Join us if this is
Hmm.
interesting to you, but which it's our online studio and membership that Tara teaches in, I teach in. But anyway, it's authenticity, it's
Yes.
your identity. And
Hmm.
so the point of the sun is not to pretend, it's not to hog all of
Right.
the limelight, as they would say. It's to just be authentically
Yeah.
you, and when you are and you know thyself, you know your personal identity. Astrology can help with that.
Hmm.
Then you illuminate, just you glow yourself, but you illuminate the world around you, and then that beacon attracts your people, like,
Hmm.
so that it's like
Yeah.
people can see you for who you are, and you're attracting the right people and opportunities and situations
Hmm.
versus faking it.
Right. Right. And the other thing that I'll say about Leo season that I love is, again, if you go back to like old school traditional astrology, they're like Leo is the masculine sign because it's the sun and it's fire and it's like so badass. Um, again, we don't gender the signs, we don't gender the planets. That's a weird human construct. Leo also rules the heart chakra, the heart space. So it doesn't have to do with linear logic, rationalizing through a formulaic responses in creation, it deals with our heart energy and our raw creative force. And
I
that, yeah,
I love the creative energy of Leo season. I always think of Leo, if you're a tarot person, as the Queen of Wands or the King of Wands, the rock star, the person who's out there living creatively and being seen for their creative expression. And it just, I love
yeah,
Leo energy.
yes. And another thing I'll say too is Leo, kind of, especially the lesson for this month in August, is we are also learning to discern between strength and power.
Ooh, tell us the difference. Preach to
Ooh.
us, Tara.
Yes. So, strength, when you are strong, truly strong within yourself, and that strength comes within, you don't feel the need to throw around your power or to overtly display it. Whereas, like, power plays are, it's what it sounds like. It's, oh, I have to prove. Power, oftentimes, displays of power means, oh, I have to prove something. And I think of the Strength tarot card, which has the sun. And I always laugh because the sun, and it's got like the little baby in the sun.
The
And
naked baby riding on the back of that
that's right.
horse.
That's right.
Don't forget.
Sorry, I was thinking of Teletubbies. I was hanging out with my baby niece, guys. Anyway, yeah. So the baby on the horse, and Leo also embodies that, just that childlike joy. And childlike is not to diminish it. All it means is oftentimes, as adults, we try to validate our reason for deserving joy.
Yeah.
In reality, that's as much of a part of us, and that is as much of a source of power and a source of strength for us. And so you absolutely can have healthy power. I'm not saying, like, to be powerful is not healthy, but looking at what kind of strength is behind your personal power.
And just to be clear, the naked baby's on the sun card. The
Yes,
lion is on the strength card
yes, thank you.
in case that got mixed up. But we just got excited
Okay.
about talking about the naked sun baby. But yes, and they're related though, the strength
Yes.
and the sun card. Yes.
Yes, they are related. And they also embody, and this is a thing that astrologers love to like go back and forth about. Um, whether the sun card represents Leo or the strength card. I'm just like, whatever feels good to you. I use both of them,
Right.
you
I
know.
also love, as an aside, when you bring the astrology world, like, ooh, the drama that happens in the astrology world, because, not being in that world, I had no idea there
Oh, I
was
know.
there's the drums.
Yeah, yeah. The only world that's more dramatic is the beekeeping world.
You are part of both. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
But yeah, so Leo is very, it really is, like you said, coming back to your authenticity. And at its highest embodiment, it's because it's on the same axis as Aquarius.
Hmm.
And it's that balance between, because Leo and Aquarius both care about sovereignty, they both care about independence, and they both care about the collective. I know Leo kind of gets picked on for like being the diva who wants to be in the spotlight, but the reality is you cannot have a healthy collective if you're not also making sure the individuals are healthy, are embodied, are operating at their highest vibration. And so again, as you said earlier, like as above, so below, in societies where we have a lot of oppression of, say, the media or of artistic expression, we find that the mental health of those people is less than.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
had me thinking because higher expressions, lower expressions. So higher
Mhm.
expression of Leo, if I'm getting it right, is very much living authentically, and because of that, shining in a way that raises up the collective. In the
Yes.
same way, the highest expression of Aquarius is considering the greater good, the community, the
Yes.
collective,
Yes.
and serving in that way. And the lower expression of a Leo would be not living authentically,
Mhm.
living with disempowered ego and leading in a toxic way that is fear-based
Mhm.
or lack-based. And in the same way, a lower octave of Aquarius could be so over-identifying with a group or community
Mhm.
that you actually lose yourself,
Yep.
and you
Yep.
actually, in turn, it's detrimental to the greater good because you are almost playing into a rigid system, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
That is so spot on. I went down the rabbit hole and I was reading about these different like cults. I'd watched the Gloria Vale the documentary, but anyway, that was such a perfect example of lower vibe Leo and Aquarius because the leader is like low vibe Leo. It's
Yes.
always yeah, it's always some dude who like has a bunch of women, and but they're not allowed to have a bunch of it's just like,
Yes.
and he's like afraid of losing his power. And then yeah, the low vibe Aquarius. Another example of low vibe Aquarius would be being so cerebral that you're dismissing the heart space, you're dismissing
Mm,
intuition, you're dismissing
which
embodiment.
you said was Leo, was that heart space.
Leo. Yeah. Yeah, and lower vibe Leo is being so self-focused, so like in your fear ego that you cannot connect with, you cannot be a part of a community for fear of not having the power. And
Right. Oh, yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
dynamic. So yeah, yeah.
Wow. So I think we were good. We got this Leo
Oh,
energy.
Leo, yeah.
Yeah. And the sun energy. And what
Yeah.
else do we have?
So, and what I love too about astrology is each season builds upon the next. So we're in Leo season. Like you
Mhm.
said, we're in August, we're going to be working with the sun energy. And it's so important, this work of connecting with our authentic self, connecting with that creation energy, embodiment, because then we move into Virgo season, which this year starts on August 23rd. Although before I get there, I actually want to go back. I want to talk about Lionsgate.
Oh, yes. Why we're still in Leo season. Let's talk Lionsgate. What is it? What isn't it?
Okay,
Spill
so
the tea.
if you've taken class with me or had a session, you know that I kind of make fun of it. That's only because it is so hyped up now on TikTok, on Insta. Um, and the reality is it's a really cool portal that opens, and kind of what's going on in the solar system is our sun aligns with the star Sirius, which is the star that is it has a lot of significance to the Atlanteans, to the ancient Egyptians, to a lot of the ancient cultures, and it was believed to be this portal for spiritual downloads, higher ascension, connection with other star systems. And every year, typically end of July, so this year it's like July 26th or 28th, depending on which system you're using, through August 12th. That's the portal. And this is a time of potent manifestation, potent release. I like to look at it as anything that is on your heart that you are desiring, whether it is something you're calling in, something you're wanting to release, whether you're wanting to do a practice where you're just kind of putting out the good vibes into the world. This is a time of one big activation of those spiritual downloads, opening our heart space, our solar plexus, but then also just being ready to receiving insight from the universe.
Mhm.
The peak day typically is August 8th because it's 8-8, and 8 in numerology is the infinity. It's the both the completion and the transformation energy. So I wanted to mention that. I know I'll be talking about more next month in class. We've got some really cool rituals in the multiverse around it.
We've
Yeah.
always done, yeah, and
Yeah.
I love it. So we've always,
Hmm.
since we've been around, been doing Lionsgate things just
Yeah,
because it's fun.
it is.
It's, it's, remember, Leo, it's the sun, and it
Mhm.
is like that. It's really that condensed energy. And as we always talk about, there is egregore energy to
Mhm.
everything. Yes, like TikTok and all that likes to kind of go a little crazy and
Like,
maybe over exaggerate a little fantastical things. However, there is an energy there. And the fact that people collectively put energy towards that date means that we have risen and given creation to an egregore, a thought form, an energy around. Today is the day where we can manifest. So it makes the energy that much more powerful and charged. So you can always think about it like that. And yes, we are doing a Lionsgate full moon ritual with Allie on the Lionsgate in the multiverse. And she's weaving Sekhmet into it as well. So,
oh,
oh my gosh, we're
yeah.
gonna be like floating and shit. So yeah, but thank you for bringing up the Lionsgate because a lot of times people are like, "Well, what is it? What isn't it?" And
Mhm.
yeah, embrace it. Embrace it.
Yeah.
You don't. I hear some people get real down on it, and
Yeah, no, I
down.
just, I try not to take myself too seriously,
Yeah,
and and y'all have heard me say there's no FOMO in astrology.
yeah.
And some of the people on social media are like, "Oh my God, if you don't, 7 years
Right.
bad luck." I'm like, "No,
Oh my
that's ridiculous."
gosh. Yeah,
Uh,
like those like spiritual psychosis people with all of the eclipses that we
mhm.
have every year and just I don't know, people don't get wild with it.
Yeah,
Don't get your house on it,
right.
but use that energy and just the collective energy around it to be intentional, to
Yeah.
shine.
Yeah, and it's really, I love to also look at it, if you follow the wheel of the year, it's the halfway point between the summer solstice and the fall equinox. And I love to, even when years where there wasn't anything specifically on my heart that I'm like, I want to manifest this or I need to release this, it was just, I'm going to take this time to be present and to see what arises. And that is something, I know it sounds like, oh, okay, I'm supposed to sit still. The reality is allowing ourselves to just be present and to hold gratitude for things and to look at, wow, look how far I've come. Look where I still want to go. Or, hey, that's where I thought I wanted to go. But, I've been having these thoughts about maybe I'm going to shift things. And it really is what you want to make of it. And it's a celebration of the light. And I like to also look at it as our connection to the greater cosmos. Because we're connected to Sirius, we're connected to these other star systems, and we came from the stars, so we have stardust in our
We're
bones. So
all just made of
we're
stardust.
just made of
So,
stardust.
all right, now you may proceed to Virgo season.
Yeah, yes. So we have all of this, all these invitations to connect with our authentic self, because then when we go into Virgo season, Leo is fixed fire. So either we are sustaining something that, we're impassioned about, or we're recognizing that something needs to change, but we're getting real with ourselves. So then we go into Virgo season. Virgo is mutable earth. And that's coming back into our physical body. We've done all this like heart exploration. Hopefully we found some joy. We've been, out, connecting with people, shining. We're coming back and we're like, okay, wow, that was awesome. And how do I sustain that? Or that was awesome. And you know what? I was kind of neglecting some other things. Where do I need to take care of myself again? And it's a reconnection to bringing the sacred into the mundane.
Mhm.
And hopefully, again, Leo season, we've done a lot of hanging out with our heart. And so we're really aware of what is really important to me. What do I need to, so Virgo season is what do I need to make sacred or reconsecrate?
Is it like a devotional type energy?
Yeah.
Ah,
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I look at it, the Virgo energy is the sage, the sacred hermit. Um, the it is the energy of purity, not of chastity.
I was gonna say, tell us the virgin story because
Yeah.
we know that Virgo is the virgin, but not
Yeah.
in haven't been sexed, but in a
Right.
self-authoritative way. So share us.
Yes. So Virgo, I've got the writing that I always write in front of me.
Good.
It is
Love
the
it.
energy of purity, not of chastity, not of chastity. Virginity within Virgo is associated with not the patriarchal depiction of, say, a woman kept untouched for a man's fragile ego. Instead, got to get that in there. Instead, it refers to a consecration of ourselves to a sacred calling of our choosing, a pureness of integrity, and the journey of soul level sovereignty.
Oh, and I mean, what's more dark feminine than that sovereignty,
Mhm.
especially in opposition to this taboo, kind of forced agenda of virginity as being like the ultimate morality and
Mhm.
spiritual um expression,
Yeah.
I mean, Mary, Mother
Yeah.
Mary was a virgin and had
Mhm.
Jesus. That's like
Mhm.
you must aspire to that level of purity. I'm
Right.
very anti-purity. So I don't want us to think that Virgo, when you hear, oh, it's associated with the virgin, that it has
Mhm.
anything to do with quote unquote purity. We'll have to do a whole other podcast on that.
Oh
But
yeah.
I like how you led us into that. It's the sovereignty that comes from the self-discovery of being who you are, that authenticity, that knowing one's identity and showing up and shining as that. That is where you anchor in
Mhm.
your personal autonomy,
Yes.
not needing the external validation, not needing to fit some kind of mold.
Yes.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I like
Oh.
that.
Yeah, yeah. It's powerful because just as, Leo sometimes gets dismissed as like the summertime, party girl, Virgo will get dismissed. And okay, low vibe Virgo can be really uptight, nitpicky. My moon's in Virgo, you guys, so I can, I can rag on Virgo a little bit. When we're in our low vibe, those of us with Virgo placements,
You get stuck.
we get stuck. We get stuck in this perfectionism cycle. We can be critical of others. We are never as mean to anyone as we are to ourselves. We can really get stuck on this is how I've always done this. And it's important to remember that one, Virgo is mutable. So it's inviting change when change is needed. And then what you were saying about this devotional energy, and it is redevoting our energy to what we define as sacred. So, whatever it is that is important to us, and that can be finding daily rituals, whether it's, coming back to, I know with the cosmic weather, this summer has been really tumultuous for a lot of us. It's also collectively been tumultuous. So, Virgo season is this invitation of like, okay, summer was crazy. Let's start to find our footing. Um, this Virgo season also begins the prep toward the next eclipse portal. Um,
It's
we have,
coming.
yeah, it's coming. It's coming. It's gonna be awesome, but we've got eclipses coming in September, October again. And this is a time of also the other thing going on at the macro level that we've talked about, and I know you've talked about it in your classes as well, is we're in this big new beginning of an era, and a lot of the old energy is clinging, because it's going away, but it is in that death grip right before it releases. And what we may see going into the second half of August is a ramping up of the lack messaging, of the fear based messaging, of the we know best, give us your power, we'll take care of you. The patriarchy, that's what it is. It's like, we're going to control you for your own good. We're going to tell you what you need. And it's so important to carry over what we've learned from Leo season and to stay pure, as in pure connection with ourselves, because we're going to be bombarded.
Okay.
And on top of that, we're also, and again, I'm not trying to say any technological advancement or AI advancement is bad, because there are lots of good things being done with it. But we're going to really see this big push of like, look, this machine can do all these things that you, little human, cannot do. Trust it. We're also going to see, as we go into fall, we always see this, the marketing toward consumerism.
And
Back
to school.
Yeah, back to school, holidays are coming up.
Get your pumpkin spice life. Okay, take my money.
Yeah, all of the things. And I think, one, we're going to be a bit more energetically sensitive to that. We may feel more easily overwhelmed by it, and it can be easy to get irritated, or it can be easy to fall into the despair. And it's so important. It goes way back to you put your own mask on first before you go help other people. And it's just really helping us stay. Virgo is helping us recommit, redevote to what we believe is sacred. Because just like what you were talking about, the Lionsgate portal, when we are all choosing a higher vibe energy, a higher vibe response, that affects the entire planet.
And I feel like we've been training for this.
Yes, we have been training for this.
All of this for the past, let's even say 5 years of these lessons that we've been led through and have hopefully been learning from. This is yet another opportunity to choose. Are you reacting or are you responding? Are you going to consciously engage with this, or are you going to show up dysregulated? Are you going to show up disembodied and allow yourself to be controlled by an external narrative? Sovereignty or non-sovereignty?
Yes. Yeah. And it's so important, talking about these external narratives, because Virgo season, that starts 2 weeks after our full moon in Aquarius. The Leo Aquarius axis, we're gonna wrap up Leo season, seeing a lot of mirroring and lessons around how connected we are, for better or for worse. And then what is significant about Virgo season starts and we immediately have the new moon. It's at 0 degrees, which is a critical degree. That means like we are kicking off some major cycles, and how we set foot into those cycles is, again, I'm not saying if you mess up on August 23rd, you're screwed for like, no, I'm not saying that. But just really allowing yourself, kind of gently and ruthlessly making time for what you need, what is important to you. And even to another big thing that's going to come into play with Virgo season is, I know a lot of us, we still want to stay connected to what's going on. And it can be really hard. This morning I opened, during my social media time, I opened up, I set a timer.
Good for you. Good for you. I think that's got to be part of the astrology, is us all really reevaluating our relationship with social media. I think everyone's doing it.
Yeah. And it's so, it's hard because we want to be connected to what's going on. We want to know what's going on. Part of it is because we want to know how to help, how to enact the positive change. And also, slowing down, even though we're going to come out of this Mercury retrograde, continuing to be present with ourselves. And, okay, yes, we check we check whatever social media we have, and then maybe we see an upsetting story about what's going on in the world. Taking the time to center,
Mm-hmm.
regulate, and then choosing a higher vibe course of action.
Right.
Whatever we have capacity for. If you do have the means to donate to organizations, great. If you only have the means to share the information. But even just not just, I don't know, like there's so much going on in the macro community. But even if all you can do is do something good for the immediate community, because
Be
we're
nice to someone at the grocery store. You
exactly, yeah,
know, it's
yeah.
like the ending of the false guru. You keep hearing about these
Hmm.
gurus, these spiritual ascendant
Yeah.
masters that people follow that you find out they're a nightmare to work with. Or
Yes.
they have no they have no tact when dealing with a difficult situation, and
Yeah.
that's how, yeah, you can know these grand consciousness terminologies and concepts, but like, what are you embodied in? Be
Yeah.
nice to people at the grocery store.
Yes. Yes. And that becomes so, and again, that goes back to air energy as well. Aquarius, Libra, Gemini, um, of just the connections that you make. And we've all been there. We've all had someone say something horrible to us, and then, we're laying in bed at night and it's like, wow, that happened 6 years ago. But my brain is like, remember that time that guy yelled at you? You know? And also, we've had the experience where a stranger was kind to us,
Hmm.
whether it was like, hey, I love your earrings, or
Yeah.
I was thinking the other night, I fell asleep, I was thinking about a time I went to the grocery store, forgot my credit card, and was like, oh my god, I'm that girl. I have a cart full of groceries, and the family behind me paid for my groceries, and they
Oh
would
my
not
God.
let me. I was like, please let me have your information, or else I'll Venmo. They just were like, no, pay it forward. And
Wow.
that sticks with me, and I've used the pay it forward. Like, that was one incident, and I've used it 4 times. Just because I'm like, yeah, I paid it
Yeah.
forward. I thought of that family.
That's how it goes to the embodiment of the information,
Yeah,
not the mental logical concepting of the information,
right.
and how you choose to move forward with it, like not virtue signaling or judging
Hmm.
others because they're not reacting or responding in the way that you would, because we're
Yeah.
all individuals.
Hmm. Yes, and I think that's the other thing. It's a slower moving energy, but with Uranus having moved into Gemini, um, and then also with these outer planet retrogrades, what we're going to see beginning this month, and again, it's a longer term energy, but earlier in the year there was a lot of rhetoric from the people in leadership of like, this is how you're supposed to live your life. And I'm hoping, this is what I'm seeing with the energy, is we're going to see a lot more just like, hey, this is how I live my life. I'm not saying this is how you should do it, but this is just what I do. So guess what? You're not alone. Not the I don't know what the word is. It's not an influencer, but a rise of kind of more authentic presentation.
And I wonder, okay, you bring up a point. You see a lot of people falling right now. Is
Right.
this something that's astrological?
Yes.
Because you see, for instance, there's the the Christian leader who is leading with these values and forcing all of these like moral beliefs on others, all of a sudden finding
Mhm.
out they're child perverts, you know,
Yeah.
pick the story that applies
Right,
to.
there's so many stories. Like, there's the Coldplay, Cam.
Oh my gosh, not Coldplay Gate. Oh my gosh. But yeah, there's just like, it does seem like people who are, preaching and trying to force their beliefs on
Mhm.
others are literally being taken down by saying, but you're not even embodying them yourself. So who the hell are you?
Right.
Versus the rise of a leadership of people who really are more embodying their beliefs. And anyone who
Mhm.
embodies their beliefs is, whether it is Christian or otherwise, is not forcing it on other people. It's
Right.
a greater understanding of what it is, which it always boils down to, like, love thy neighbor,
Mhm.
be kind. Anyone doing the mental gymnastics to try to think that their belief system is telling them to, like, bomb people or lock them in cages is fucked up. And, like, so it is that an astrological thing happening right now where it is like the embodied leadership versus the do as I say, not as I do leadership.
Yes, I'm so glad you brought that up. So, and there's so many layers to it, as always, because astrology is not, it's not these isolated entities. That is absolutely part of the astro weather. The bigger things, starting with the outer planets, Pluto and Aquarius, that is returning, to distill it down, to extremely simple terms. That is the power to the people. Okay, so the collective, not the person in the spotlight, but just the everyday person. Recognizing, like, we're all, and then within that, the higher vibe of Pluto and Aquarius is we're all one and the same, and we are each unique. When I think of Aquarius, it's we are all special, just like everyone else.
You wrote that in this month's astro report for the multiverse, and I was cracking up. Like,
Yes.
you are a precious little individual snowflake, but
Well,
so is everyone else
everyone
around you.
else, yes.
Okay, bye.
Yeah, so there's that aspect. Saturn and Neptune in Aquarius, or not Aquarius, Aries. And right now they're both retrograde. So it was so fascinating because when you look at when they went retrograde, that was when we had the Coldplay incident. We had the awareness of these leaders who are, going after other people, claiming that these other people are harming children, and it turns out that they're doing the same thing, and that is, Aries is about that. It's that root self-sovereignty, um, authenticity. All of the fire signs really deal with the outward projection, ideally, of
Yeah.
authenticity, and ideally feeling empowered within ourselves without having to oppress others. The lower
Yeah.
vibe, is the oppressing others to meet our agenda. But yeah,
Right. You
Saturn
think,
and Neptune and Aries. Neptune and Aries, especially because Neptune deals with our belief systems. It deals with spirituality. With it
Mhm.
being retrograde in Aries, that's where we're kind of being confronted with our own personal belief systems, and are they in alignment with who we are? And again, we're seeing a lot of these faces of leadership, whether it's religious, whether it's power. Um, the reality is
Yeah.
coming back, and that's also Saturn in Aries.
Yeah.
Looking at what needs to change about these structures that we have placed our power, our trust in. Yeah,
And
so yeah, it's
per-
astrologically aligned.
and I see now, based on our earlier talks, like, are you allowing your over identification with Aquarian energy with the group? Um, are you allowing that to override and for you to feel like it's justifying unsavory behavior? Stop using your political party, your religion, your national association, your whatever,
Right.
your gender identification, whatever, to oppress others.
Yes, yes.
That's what it comes down to, really. Where it's
Yeah,
like, is that a big that sounds like a big lesson that we're learning right now.
it is. And another thing that is textbook Pluto and Aquarius, Saturn, Neptune, and Aries retrograde right now is, like, for example, we're seeing a lot of people that were just like ardent supporters of Donald Trump, ardent supporters of the Republican Party.
Yeah.
And now they're having, this crisis of identity because
Yes.
they're like, oh, this is not what I signed up for. And
Right.
I
Stop
know that,
over identifying with that.
yeah,
Yeah,
they
go on.
over-identified with it. And then on the other side too, because I rag on everybody.
Equal
Um,
opportunity.
Right, right. I mean, there's people too that have over-identified with the other political party who are
Absolutely.
having the issue being like, what do you mean they were also on the Epstein list? Like, and what do you
Right.
mean that they're not actually doing the things that they said that they would do for supporting certain groups? And so,
Right. It's called being polarized, that you will just blindly follow anything and everything because you identify
right.
with a group over greater nuance. Back to the nuance. And it goes
Yeah.
back to, so use this Leo season to really
Mhm.
recognize who you are, what you stand for, and to maybe pull away from an over identification
Yes.
with and it's not that you don't, I understand that people love identifying in one way or another. I mean, it help, like I always say, oh, like I practice like dark feminine,
Yeah.
right? The dark feminine magic. But I welcome everyone. I don't care what
Mhm.
you identify for that, but to me that's helpful to find my peeps, right? But I'm not saying and use qualifying this to then treat other people with disrespect. And
Yeah.
find out who you are so those can lead your value system, but you can't impose your value system on others. And then in Virgo season, ground them in
Mhm.
and, devote yourself to your purpose, your radiance, and, not being anti other people or blindly following other people.
Yes.
Ooh, it's a
Yes.
big time, Tara.
It's big time. It's a big time, but we can handle it. We got this. We
We
got
got
this.
this. We
Yeah.
have our practices, we have our tools. This is why
Mhm.
we need our spiritual practices. This is why we need our communities.
Mhm.
This is why we do these podcasts.
Yeah.
I love having these conversations because it's not screaming at people on the
Right.
internet. It's having a conversation around like why we actually do this work, how this work can actually be applied
Mhm.
practically, how, why we would want to devote ourselves to it versus just, you know, screaming at people, I know the right answer. And so if you're not doing what I'm saying is the right answer, you're an asshole,
Yeah, exactly.
You
Exactly.
don't
And
change
it's yeah.
people's, you don't change society that way. You don't change people's minds that way.
No, you never, and I learned this working with teenagers back in another life when I taught high school. And it surprisingly it applies to other people. If you yell at people, if you make them feel bad, if you make them feel ashamed, they might go along with what you say, but it's not one, it's not going to last forever. I mean, eventually the body does not lie. Eventually, um they're going to realize that they're not happy and this isn't healthy. And then two, it doesn't help us evolve and grow and actually get sustainable abundance.
Mm.
And yeah,
And
so
so maybe this is something because, as we talked about in the last podcast, and you started off saying Mercury's retrograde. Mercury is how we communicate. So this is the
mhm,
perfect time to maybe reassess why we communicate a certain way. This is probably why we're reassessing our relationship with social media. And
yeah.
so when does Mercury go direct? Do we know?
Mercury goes direct on August 11th. So
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So, it went retrograde mid-July. And then it goes direct on the 11th of August. And so that is where we may find, once it goes direct, because it's going to go over the degrees that it went retrograde in. And so what that means for us little earthlings is we may, whatever we're dealing with right now, we may have it kind of revisit us, but in a way that either we're getting insight after the 11th,
Oh,
or it makes sense to us somehow.
like
Uh,
clicks.
yeah, it clicks. So yeah, and it's with Mercury being in Leo, this is right now, it's a beautiful time to be reviewing how we talk to ourselves, how we talk about ourselves. I know, and I know a lot of us struggle with this. I've been reworking how I present myself. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I shouldn't. I still catch myself, worrying about like, oh, do I sound too smart? And I'm just like, no, stop that. Am I making too much art? Or, and so with once it goes direct, helping us, that helps us to channel that energy more outward later on.
Mm, perfect
Um,
timing for
yeah,
that,
it's great timing. It's great timing. We also have Venus. Venus enters Leo August 25th.
more
So
Leo energy.
more
Oy
Leo
vey.
blending with the Virgo. So yeah, and that's also just Venus and Leo is awesome because that's like, how do we show up for our pleasure? And
I like
how, within Virgo season, how do we make our devotion to pleasure sacred?
it. Say it again.
How do we make our devotion to pleasure sacred?
Booyah. Love
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Great reminder.
yeah. It's really cool. I'm excited about August.
Yeah.
Because that gives us some time to integrate. And then I like eclipse portals. I'm excited for the one that's opening in September. I think that's cool.
It,
Um,
we can think about it this way. Live in the month, live in August, prepare yourself, and then come next month when we have our September
yes,
dark feminine
yes,
astrology. I'm like, ooh, it's astrology through the lens of the dark feminine.
yeah,
Meaning,
yeah.
that we are looking at the shadow of things, that
Hmm.
we are not afraid of broaching the taboo around it, that we're going to talk boundaries, we're going to
Yeah.
talk about, um, you know,
Hmm.
showing up in our sovereignty, and
Yeah.
we'll talk about these eclipses that are coming in September.
Hmm.
Do you have any final wisdom to leave us with for
Ooh.
August?
So I guess the only final wisdom I would say, and I know you've said this before, so I'm just echoing you. For anyone listening, regardless of how you identify along the spectrum of gender, we all contain the energies of the dark feminine.
Hmm.
And so if you're, because I know some of you, I told you last month, you're like, oh, I caught your podcast and I'm curious about it. We all have these energies and they are so, so powerful. And they shift the way that we align with them shifts with the seasons and with the energies. And so anyway, I just want to remind everyone who is listening that that is powerful. Also, if you want to know more about it, please jump on the multiverse.
Yeah.
There are so many amazing classes and studies that occur on there, and it's an awesome community too. It's just a lot of fun.
I agree. And in fact, tonight is your natal chart night where we all
Mhm.
bring our natal charts and you tell us a little bit how we can read our own charts to know thyself at a deeper level. But yes, whenever I
Yeah,
say dark feminine, it's never meant to be isolating.
yeah.
It's really meant really to be, it's to give a name to,
Hmm.
it's calling math, you know?
Yeah,
It's, there's a point where it's not, it is, these are the qualities that are defined by it, but it really is to unite everyone around how are we going to create a new world, because that's in the moment of time we are, and in a world that is, we're all so comfortable in our masculine. Pretty much I can say I'm very comfortable in
yeah.
masculine. To be
Yep.
successful in life, I've had to acclimate to my masculine. So let's get uncomfortable and let's start to explore our dark feminine, which of all of the, we can feel a little more comfortable in the light feminine than we get in the dark feminine. Oh, that's more uncomfortable. So let's get comfortable, and because that's where the great change happens. So thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I never want to isolate anyone. So
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, my final thing is another thing that was interesting about 2025 overall is we're in a, numerologically, we're in a 9 year, which is, and the way they get that is you just add the numbers of 2025, it makes nine. Yeah, yeah, nothing too crazy there.
math.
Yeah. But that is nine is a completion and a release year.
I know. How
And
many people are breaking up, leaving
oh,
jobs, moving,
yeah,
or
yeah.
having babies? Like, they are setting themselves up for a whole new journey, a whole new fool's
Yeah.
journey.
Yeah, it's a whole, and that's also why this um authenticity and embodiment work is so important because this is prime energy for like anything, I would say August, get real with yourself about anything that you have thought about, like keeps coming back to you that you're like, "Oh, I'd love to do that." And whatever we all have butts. We all have. I would love to do that, but yeah, insert. And I have that too. August is really about being like, okay, this is what I want to do. I don't know how I'm getting there yet, and that's okay. But I'm going to start moving to that, and I'm going to start moving to that direction. Um,
Yeah. That's
yeah,
why I love studying magic and being in a
yes,
group of mystically and
yeah.
magically minded people, because what we always discover with magic is that our spells or our intentions are never delivered to us in the way that we think they will be.
Yeah.
It always seems coincidental. It always
Mhm.
seems like, oh, it seems like almost like a happenstance or random, but we know that we did the magic, and you can always think about that. Things you could never. I'll leave with this story, painting my house shutters
Uh-huh.
this weekend with a friend of mine, and she goes, never in a million years, of like a year ago, I thought, what am I going to be doing a year from now? Did I think I'd be hanging out with you because we didn't know each other well? And we'd be painting shutters and hanging them on your house. Like, this is so random, but it's like, yeah, man, you can't plan out your life.
Hmm.
You can't plan out your life. You can just take steps in the direction in which feels authentic, which feels like flow, which feels like it lights you up. That's like why you need to understand your inner fire versus the influence of other people. And you just trust that path. So if you don't know how you're going to get there, cool. No one does.
Yeah, no one knows what they're doing. Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
we're all just making it up as we go. So, except Tara. Tara knows the astrology. So you did not make any of that up. That was very well informed. So, thank you for sharing all of your devoted wisdom, because you have devoted yourself to astrology. So thank you for sharing your devoted
My
wisdom with
pleasure.
us. I always love the lens that you see things through, and I think it really inspires me so much. So thank you.
Thank you. I love sharing and I love learning too. In Moon Club, I always learn something from my students, and that's why I have so much wisdom, because I'm always learning something new. And yeah, it's just.
Embody it.
Mhm.
Embody it. Just don't read about it. Just
Mhm.
don't listen to podcast about it. Do it. That's how you get better at things. I
Yeah.
literally wrote that, something about that, on my Substack this morning. So,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, it's all coming full circle. The
Ooh.
astrology. All right, well, shut up. Thank you all so much for listening, watching. We love you. We'll be back next month. Tara, you're fucking amazing, and we love you. Mwah.
Thank you. Mwah. Love yourselves. Love each other. Happy stargazing.
Thank you for joining. Follow me on Instagram at crimson.minx and visit esoerotic.com to learn to live more fully and unapologetically in your magnetic power, sensual pleasure, and unlimited creative potential.